All right, so we're gonna do a quick little painting that only involves 3 colors. So you're gonna need a pencil, either a piece of paper, a canvas, piece of cardboard, or whatever you have around that you could paint on, and then some white paint, blue and black. I'm gonna open my black here. And then you're also gonna need a pencil, a canvas or a board, a paper towel, and some water to clean your brushes, because you'll also need a brush. You could just use one medium size, but I have a big brush and a little brush. So the first thing we're gonna do is with our pencil, this is an old canvas and it has stuff drawn on it, but that's okay. We are going to draw some rocks we're gonna make a lighthouse. So we're gonna draw some rocks that our lighthouse is on. So on the left side, I am just going to I'm outside so the wind is blowing. I'm just gonna start a little bit above the bottom, and I'm just gonna make a bumpy line that goes to the bottom of the canvas. And this is gonna be a pile of rocks where we are going to make our lighthouse. To make our lighthouse, all you have to do is you're gonna put 2 lines going up. So the lines have to go into each other. You don't want them straight. You're gonna have them, they're gonna be non-perpendicular, so they're gonna go into each other a little. So once you have those lines, you're just gonna make a little line that connects it. Then we're gonna put another 2 little sets of lines. That's where our light's gonna come out of. And go across. And then I'm just gonna put a little dot above that, and I'm gonna connect it to make a triangle for the top. And our lighthouse is going to be half white, and then I'm gonna make it black on the bottom too. So there's our little lighthouse, and the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna put a horizon line. Horizon line is where the sky meets the ocean in this picture, or the sky meets the ground. So I'm just gonna connect that lighthouse to the edges of the canvas, just like that. Good job. All right, so now, once you have that drawn, if you have any pencil eraser marks, just spread them out. So our first step is I'm gonna use my little brush, and I'm gonna just paint my lighthouse white. So this middle section and this little guy over here are gonna be white. So I'm just gonna paint those 2 sections white. And the reason why I paint white first sometimes is so my paintbrush isn't too dirty from other colors, that it like makes the white like light blue or something. So the top portion and my bottom portion of that lighthouse are going to be black. So once you do that, you can wash your brush. I'm actually going to take my big brush, and I'm going to start painting my sky. Now my sky is going to be a blue, so I'm going to use my blue. I'm going to put some blue all around. Then I'm going to wash my brush, and we want it to be a really light blue. So wash and dry your brush, and then I'm going to take some white on top of that and just blend that in so I get a nice light blue. You want to be careful when you're going around that lighthouse, but if you do get a little on, that's okay. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to paint this section, just the blue. I'm going to take my little brush to get in those little areas, in those little corners. And I'm just doing this painting on the table, but if you have an easel, you could do that. You could put in, alrighty. So after I got those corners, I'm just gonna spread. All right, so next I'm actually gonna go back to my sky a little bit. I'm gonna wash and dry that brush really good. I'm gonna spread any chunks that I have. And in my sky, what I'm going to do is I am gonna add some clouds. I'm gonna have on my big brush, I'm just putting a little white, and I'm just dabbing a little to make clouds. And they're gonna become light blue, but that's okay. You could even, if you want, you could use your finger. So I put a lot of paint on there. And after our sky dries a little more, we're gonna go back and add more white onto these clouds. This is just a first little layer. All right, so I have my sky with my clouds. I'm gonna go back in my ocean, just kind of smooth things out. The blue paint is like, my blue paint is kind of separated. So I'm just trying to help it look good. All right, for our next step, you need to find your small brush. And what I am going to do with my small brush is I'm going to take a little bit of black and I am going to paint the bottom portion of my lighthouse black. And if you get oil in your rocks, it's fine, because our next step, you'll see why. And when you're doing like these small lines, we're gonna outline our lighthouse in a little bit. When you're doing the small lines, a small brush with a tiny little bit of paint works the best. So I just outlined it. I'm not even gonna fill it in right now because I might use my big brush to fill that section in. And then I'm just gonna outline or go over the very top section. Make that little antenna that I have. If you don't have a little brush and you don't trust your outlining skills, you could always wait until everything is dry and go back with a Sharpie. Right now, while I have my little brush, I'm just gonna outline the whole lighthouse, that section with the light on it. You're not gonna see our light today because it's daytime. And then I'm gonna go back and outline the middle section. So if you don't have a small brush and don't trust your outlining skills, just wait till everything dries and use a Sharpie. And you really have to wait till everything dries. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna go back with my big brush, make sure it's really dried off. You could continue using, and I'm gonna fill in this section, and I'm also gonna fill in the rocks with black. Okay, so after I do that, wash and dry your brush. And my arm took off a little bit of that paint, but we'll add that a little later. So while our black is still wet, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put a little white on my small brush, and I'm gonna start making like boulders, rocks. And the white and the black are gonna mix to make gray rocks. And I'm gonna leave spaces in between my rocks, just so it almost leaves like a black outline around the rocks. Rocks. I'm making them kind of big, but you can make them whatever size you want. And when you paint them like this, they're going to be all different kinds of gray, depending on how much white you have on your brush, how wet the black paint is. If you're getting too dark for some reason, just wash your brush and then add some more white on top. If you're too light, you might have to add some black as you're painting the white rocks. So you don't have white rocks, you have gray rocks. All right. So we have our little lighthouse with our rocks. And my rocks are pretty dark too, so I might go back and add a little white to some of them. Not too much, just a little. Alrighty. So while I'm gonna actually make a little darker blue. So I'm gonna take my blue on my mixing plate and add just a teeny bit of black to it, just to get a little darker blue. And I am going to add, with my little brush, just some darker blue into my ocean. Because nothing is like one color. It's always good to add like layers of color. Make sure you do both sides. You don't forget about this other side. Make sure you get close to that lighthouse, as close as you can. I'm also going to make some light blue on my plate, and I could also add some like light blue. Get fun with mixing the colors. Once you do that, I have to even out my horizon line. But once you do that, add some of those streaks, wash and dry your brush. And then we'll go back with some black on your small brush. And I am just gonna add 2 little windows. So I'm just gonna make like little thick rectangles in my lighthouse. So I have 1 and 2. First one I'm actually going to make a little taller. And depending on the size of your lighthouse and the size of your canvas, you can make them bigger or little. If you want to add like different color stripes to your lighthouse eventually, or if you don't want to use black, if you have like red, you could do that. In this upper white section, I am actually going to add some like little rails. And then I'm going to add like just a little door on the bottom. So I'm going to wash and dry my brush, put a little white on it. I'm just going to make sure your brush is really dry. And I'm just going to add a little white door. It's going to mix with the black to create a door or an illusion of a door right there. Beautiful. Next thing, while our cloud up there is kind of dry, I'm with a clean brush, and you have to wash it really, 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 really good. With a clean brush and some white, I'm just going to put white into the upper part. Clean and dry that brush really good. I'm having problems drying my brush today. In the upper part of the cloud, I'm just going to put a little white to help things. If you hear a 2-year-old screaming in the background, sorry about that. All right, so you have a little lighthouse. You have a quick little easy painting, a nice lighthouse with a nice sky, a light blue sky, and a blue ocean. So it's a quick little painting. It's kind of give you a taste of what we're going to do this summer. And it's easy because it only requires 3 colors, which is great.